Alright, how's it going tonight, guys? This is the update video for Gregtech 604.08. And the main thing that got changed is we now have ocean water. We spent part of the day today on the stream, and then I spent a little more time afterwards getting it back over here so we could take a look at it. And this is what it looks like when it connects to a river. It does seem like it invades the river a little bit because this is definitely a river biome. Bring up F3 here, all the way up into here, but it still changed over. But it did stop once it got back to here. I'm guessing it's a chunk thing from the way it looks. I can turn on chunk borders here if I can remember the button. Maybe it's not quite a chunk thing. The chunk actually ends there. So, not quite sure. But anyways, that is the water. And we had to move our drain over a block. So let me go grab a bucket. Excuse the whining noise from in there. I'll try to get away from here pretty quick. There we go. Need to find a way to soundproof his building a little bit. It's a little noisy. But you shouldn't be able to pick it up with a bucket. So I will go see if I can figure out where I dropped off my bucket. We'll take one of these just in case too. I know there's some extra ones over here. There we go. Excuse me. Alright. Head back over here, check this out. Probably ought to get my sword down here, so I know there was a zombie over there. And yeah, he's right here. Hi, buddy. Have a nice day. Alright, so can't pick up the ocean water. And doesn't look like we can pick it up with this either. And one of the main things Greg suggests is that with the first note here, it says that now that I added infinite seawater, I would recommend you to look into Code Chicken Core config and set infinite water to, or finite water to true, so that vanilla water isn't infinite anymore, and you need to distill easily accessible ocean water if you want infinite H2O. Now, when you distill the ocean water, it actually turns into distilled water, which you can then generify into regular water if you need to. But there's actually another way to do it that he added later on down in the changelog, and that is, if you've seen where I said we had to move our drain over one, added the drain now no longer deletes the water blocks when pointed into a river biome. So as long as your drain is in a river, the drain will work as a infinite water source. So all of our regular water here in our little village is supplied by that. Now, we are actually going to put another drain in on the other side of town, which will be in the seawater, which is where we will get distilled water from. Let me look this up here for you. Come on, stupid NEI. Catch up. Okay. It's not ocean. Let's see if he actually typed it as seawater. Yes, he did. Okay. So, seawater. There is a bucket version, but you can't pick it up, so don't worry about that. But anyways, you can electrolyze seawater, which will give you 27 1/72 piles of sodium hydroxide dust, chlorine, hydrogen, and oxygen. Or you can dry it for 9 1/72 piles of salt. You get 8 seawater in and almost 8 distilled water back out. So this is a nice way of making distilled water early on, and you actually get a lot more salt than what you used to. Getting salt in the dryer was almost impossible because there was a really low chance on it. Now you get it all the time. So we're actually setting up crazy tomorrow in the stream, a dryer in the basement with a drain outside. That way she can have distilled water for the machine she's going to be getting in her processing area for food, and then she will also have salt to be able to cook with. Alright, so let's talk about the ocean block itself. Added the ocean water blocks, I call them seawater sometimes, will spread similar to Minecraft Alpha Water, but with more restrictions such as needing to be in ocean or beach biomes or having to be in the vanilla infinite water constellation, and especially no way to place them down manually. I hope. I also disabled them in floodgates and similar, but I didn't test that. As soon as I can get a floodgate, I will see if I'm going to make a pump and a floodgate, see if I can pump them up with a Buildcraft pump. Might even try a IE pump and a rotary craft pump, since we have those mods in here as well. And so we'll test that out as soon as I can get those things made. They will also contaminate normal vanilla water blocks. Previously generated oceans might take a while to be contaminated once they get in contact with the newly generated ocean water, which that's what we did in the very beginning of the stream today. We went about 500 blocks or so that direction, found some, and then let it feed all the way back here. So all this you can see is seawater now. I did notice not only does it have a darker texture to it, but it also seems to be a little bit darker when you're underwater. Now it's becoming daylight. I'll see if I can get back out here and the bright light here in a minute and show you the difference in how it looks. Ocean water can be dried or electrolyzed to get similar output as salt water, but with a far lower salt content. The drain works perfectly fine with ocean water, no matter how no matter how large the pipe you connect to it is. There's a special case that automatically considers seawater blocks as infinite, and therefore the blocks won't even be deleted when drained by it, and therefore saving on graphics and network updates. Default ocean height is 62. It will be configured when needed. I needed that height limit to prevent spills like the one he showed in his screenshot. He had a tsunami in his screenshot when he was testing it. Interestingly, it doesn't lag the server to death if it was to happen. The ocean water cannot be placed by any means, even if you have a bucket of it. I also tested the Buildcraft floodgate to make sure it is not possible. So apparently he has tested it now with the floodgate. Earlier he said he didn't. but I'm still going to try to break it and see if I can figure out how to do it, or at least pump it up with something other than a drain here. Alright, so here is regular water, and then we go over here to the more murky, darker ocean water. Where they join up is a little bit different. You got a little bit of flowage there you got to deal with. But you can see it's just a little bit darker, not much. You can still see underneath pretty well. And I'm sure the potion for what is that? Night vision will definitely still work. Don't have it made right now, or I'd go give it a shot. Let's see. Then we have the butterfly scoop thing with forestry butterflies has been fixed, he does believe. Scoops not catching butterflies like intended was fixed. Needs tested if it still works, though. The bug was that I actually forgot to add the catching behavior itself to the scoop. Now, once Thylacraft gets updated, I will go over there and test that out. If any of y'all get to testing that before I can, let me know, because we don't have any butterflies here on Gregtech right now, so I can't really test it, and Thylacraft's not updated yet. Another thing that was changed is silicon dioxide to silicon. So I'm going to actually test this one now. I'm throwing in quartz dust. This is from nether quartz. And it needs to be heated to 1986. I'll look this up here. And nether quartz dust. Look at the... Oh, this is... Yeah, we don't want that one. We want the regular quartz dust. So there we go. And you look at the crucible. 1986 gives you silicon dioxide. And then the silicon dioxide, you put it into, or leave it in this case, in the crucible. You give 3 of them a dark ash or a carbon, which I do believe that's wrong because, oh crap, I wasn't paying attention and just died. Not quite sure why I died though. That shouldn't have heated up that quick. Maybe it did. Junior's gonna flip because I broke his crucible. Make him another one, I'll never know. Let's grab some more and actually pay attention here this time. Let's go shut this off. And grab my stuff. And it probably got heated up before I was able to check. But dark ash is half of a carbon, so I do believe that should actually be... Let's get rid of this waypoint real quick. Don't need a death marker right here. Alright, so put these 3 back in here. I'll watch it this time. Why'd I do that? I'll watch it this time. And Junior's got his suit. Let's go back over here. I will shut it off when it gets... I guess it is heating up a little quick, but I didn't think it was that quick. We will shut it off when it gets to about 2,000. That should give me enough, maybe 2,100. Actually, give me a sec. What does it boil at? Another quartz boils at 32. Okay. So, should be okay. There we go. Let's try this with the dark ash. If I can get over here quick enough. Alright, so 1986. We are definitely there. We throw the dark ash in, and that should make that silicon once I heat it back up to 1986, because that's when they combined, and that should make one thing of silicon. So there we go. Back up there, and there's our silicon plate. Nothing left over behind. Have to ask Greg about the grab this. Probably don't need it by now. By now it's probably cooled off enough. But there we go. We got a silicon plate out of quartz from silicon dioxide. So you can no longer electrolyze your silicon dioxide to silicon. You have to do it this way. Where is that? Here we go. So you'll see combination smelting, press as usual, mixer for making seafoam, and then other mod things. But there is no electrolyzing anymore. So this is how you'll be making your silicon from silicon dioxide. Let's see here. Hydrochloric acid is needed to process borax now. Electrolyzing it directly is no longer possible. This is actually kind of nice because borax was a very high energy consumer. And if you look at the recipe for getting boron, let's see. Where is the recipe I'm looking for? Where is the borax stuff then? Am I spelling? Oh, it's A. That's why. Okay, so borax will give you this borax dust here. You mix 43 of them with hydrochloric acid. You get hydrogen, borate, and salt water. And then the hydrogen borate is then electrolyzed at only 112 now, and it gives you boron, hydrogen, and oxygen for 7 of them. So now you actually have to run it through hydrochloric acid. So big change on that. Not a real major thing because boron doesn't actually have a use currently, but you can get some hydrogen and oxygen out of it if you need it, and it's not going to be sitting around in a chest waiting forever. And then the seawater, which is from IHL, will give you the 1/72 pile of sodium hydroxide, chlorine, hydrogen, oxygen. That should be the same as Greg's seawater. If you don't have IHL, that's why it has that pink texture, because that's the IHL texture for it. The other thing is something I'm going to have to actually test over on Thylacraft, and that is asphalt block recipe has changed. You now have to actually mix it. There is still this block of asphalt, but this supposedly, again, I haven't been able to test this yet, has lost its regular speed things where it would speed you up. This is now just a storage block for the dust of asphalt. So now if you actually want to make asphalt, you will have to make these colored asphalt. Your main one being the gray one, which you will mix gray whack or soapstone, and this is giving all the different colors, but the default one for gray is stone dust. Because we have underground biomes, we can make all the different colors, or most of them, with different dusts, but the default one is for stone dust. So you just mix some stone dust with molten asphalt, so you'll have to heat it up now. And then you put the molten with the stone dust in a mixer, and you'll get the block out. And so that's how you will make the actual speed improvement asphalt like before. There's the actual stone dust molten asphalt for gray asphalt. So it's only one stone dust and 1 bucket's worth of asphalt to give you 1 piece of asphalt. So a little more realistic there, since you don't really just pour asphalt on the road. You actually mix it with gravel, stone dust, that type of thing. Let's see. Similar to the recipe of the seafoam fluid, including the pre-dried variants, which I just showed. Changed glass bottle behavior regarding ocean water, and also made the glass bottles consume the regular water block when right-clicking with them. You get up to 3 bottles at once from that. So let's see if Crazy has any glass bottles around here. She usually has some in her input box, but apparently she actually cleaned it out today. So let's go grab some glass water bottles. And this will be the last thing we take a look at today. Let's make about 3 sets of them here. I gotta make sure to remake Junior's Crucible when we get done. So let's do 6 in one hand, 3 in the other. And we'll come out here to the river. Hopefully there ain't too many nasty things that want to give me crap. Alright, so if we do 3 at a time, it fills 1, 2, 3, and there's your seawater, which is salty. Gives you no saturation but 1 food. And I'm almost positive if you have Enviromine, that is going to give you dehydration. Again, I haven't tested it to make sure, but I would venture to guess it would. And then over here, we're going to do it like that, and you can see it actually deleted the water block, and we got 3 water bottles filled from 1 click. So I'll now have to bring out some water and repair that so we don't have that flowage, since we have finite water on. But there you go. Now, one thing actually I probably should check here is if I do just 1 bottle, is it going to delete the water block? Yes, it does. And it didn't fill the other 2. So if you want to be economical about your water, make sure you fill 3 at one time. Now, one other thing I want to check is if you can fill water bottles with distilled water. And that I should be able to check with my cauldron over here. If I pick it up and I hook it onto this distilled water pipe I have here, I should be able to test that. So we will open this up. Will it fill the cauldron is the first test. Yes, it will. And we fill the water bottle, and we get a regular water bottle. So there you go. Now, can I, then if I choose to, come on, don't freeze up my game. 1 second. Apparently it doesn't like me looking up the usage for a water bottle. Alright, so then can I actually pull that water out of that bottle in, say, a canning machine? Canning machine. You can fill one that way, so you should be able to empty one that way. Just see if I can find where it's on the right side. It says you can, but it doesn't show the actual output. So I'd actually have to try that to see if it works. But it should. See, this one, it actually shows that the water goes in over here, where for that one, the cans even show it, but for some reason the water bottle one doesn't. I'll have to show that to Greg, see what he has to say. But that might be a way for you to generify even faster your water, if you have a way of picking up your water out of here. Let me see, does a bucket do it? I can't pull it out with a bucket. Can I pull it out with a measuring pot? No, I can't pull it out with a measuring pot either. But I can a water bottle. So if you have an auto thing that can click that, an auto clicker block, which we don't have with water bottles, you could basically do that as well, or should be able to. Have to talk to Greg, as I said, about why it doesn't show up in the canning machine. Again, I can actually give that a try once we get a canning machine. We don't have one over here, so it's not something we're going to be able to do on here for a little while, but I can check it when I get over to Thylacraft. So that is it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you learned a little bit of something. If you have any questions, as usual, let me know. I'll be glad to answer all that I can, or pass them along to Greg if needed. And if you would like to ask Greg directly, you can go to the forums, the IC2 forums, the Gregtech 6 page, ask him directly, or to the Gregtech dev on IRC. And we will see you next time. Have a good one, everybody.